She ran like everything inside her had just broken, crying, not just from pain, but from everything she had been carrying for years. In her 30s, with no husband, no child, and no place to truly call home, she became a stranger in her own family. Her father saw her as a disappointment. Her brother treated her like she didn't belong, until one day she had no choice but to leave. In a quiet town where everyone seemed to belong to someone, there lived a woman who belonged to no one. At over 30 years old, she carried a weight that was heavier than poverty. Rejection, not from strangers, but from her own blood. Her father looked at her like she was a mistake, a constant reminder of something he wished never existed. Her brother followed his lead. His words were sharp, careless, cutting deeper than he knew. In that house, she was not a daughter. She was not a sister. She was just there, unwanted. Every morning, she woke up hoping something would change. A kind word, a smile, anything. But hope slowly turned into silence. After another long day of silence, and words that cut deeper than they should, she lay on her bed, alone. The house was quiet, but her mind wasn't. Tears rolled down her face, soaked into her pillow, and in that moment of weakness, a question escaped from her lips, soft, broken. Am I really his daughter? Her voice trembled, because no matter how hard she tried, no matter how much she endured, she never felt like she belonged. She turned to her side, hugging her side tightly, as if trying to replace the love she never received. And then her mind drifted back to a day she would never forget. The sky was grey, heavy, people dressed in black, voices so low, faces filled with sorrow. Her mother's funeral. She stood there, small, fragile, watching as the only person who ever loved her was being taken away. Tears streamed down her face uncontrollably. She reached out, as if she could stop it. Mom, please don't go. But the world didn't stop. And from the day, everything changed. The warmth disappeared. The love vanished. And the house that once felt like home became a place she no longer recognized. Maybe that's when it all began. The rejection, the loneliness, the feeling of not belonging anywhere. And now, years later, she was still carrying that same pain. Until one evening, after another round of harsh words, she stood in the middle of that house and realized something painful. She was completely alone. So she packed a small bag, not because she was ready, but because she had no choice. And without looking back, she walked away from the only home she had ever known. She found temporary refuge in her uncle's house for a short while. Life felt different. In her uncle's house, there was food on the table and a place to sleep. It wasn't love, but it was peace. And for her, that was enough. But peace doesn't always last. Things began to shift when her uncle got married. Everything began to change. At first, it was subtle. The way his wife looked at her, cold, distant, unwelcoming. Then came the small things. Food served without calling her. Conversations that stopped when she entered the room. Silence that felt heavy. Until one evening, everything came to the surface. She was in the kitchen, quietly helping, when she heard voices from the next room. Her name. "I don't understand why she's still here," his wife said sharply. Her uncle's voice followed softly. "She has nowhere else to go." "That's not my problem," the wife replied. "I didn't marry you to take care of another grown woman," she continued. Those words cut deeper than anything she had heard. She stood frozen, listening, unable to move. "I want her out of this house," the wife said firmly. Her uncle didn't argue, and in that silence, she understood everything. She didn't wait to be called. She didn't wait to be told. She quietly packed her bag and left again. Her hands trembled, but her face was calm. Not because it didn't hurt, but because she had felt this pain before. When she stepped out, her uncle avoided her eyes. His wife stood in the hallway watching. No goodbye, no apology, no kindness. Just another door closing in her life. She stepped outside, alone, again. Survival became her only focus. She found a small job, cleaning, long hours, little pay, but it was something. At night, when everyone left, she stayed behind. Quietly, carefully, she would lay her head down on a chair, on the cold floor, and sleep, because she had nowhere else to go. But even that didn't last. One night, her boss found her. The disappointment on his face said everything. By morning, she had lost not just a job, but the only place she could rest. For a moment, life felt like it was closing in on her, every door shutting, every hope fading. Then she met him. A man who spoke gently, who listened, who offered her something she hadn't felt in a long time. Comfort. He gave her a place to stay, took her places she had never been. He showered her with lots of gifts, a space to breathe, and slowly, she allowed herself to believe and trust again. Then she found out she was pregnant. Something inside her lit up. For the first time, she wasn't just surviving. She had a reason, a future, a child who would be hers, someone who would never reject her. But life had one more test waiting. At 5 months pregnant, the truth came crashing. He was cheating. The man she trusted. It was 1 a.m. The streets were empty, dark, quiet. She ran, barefoot, crying uncontrollably. The pain wasn't just betrayal, it was everything. "Why?" she cried. "Why did you leave me?" Not to him, but to her mother. The mother who had died or abandoned her too early to protect her from any of this. If you were here, maybe my life would be different. She held her stomach tightly, as if trying to protect what was left. Her whole life flashed before her. The rejection, the loneliness, the constant pain of not belonging anywhere. "I'm tired," she whispered. And in that dark, empty street, she broke down completely. The pain didn't stop that night. It followed her into the next. And the next. Her body couldn't carry the weight of it all. Not long after, she lost the baby. Silently, painfully, alone. That moment didn't just break her heart. It broke something deeper. But sometimes, when everything falls apart, there was something new beginning. This time, not because she was forced to, but because she chose to. She left. She found a small apartment, empty, quiet, but it was hers. For the first time in her life, she made a decision that wasn't about survival. It was about change. She began applying for opportunities abroad. Rejection after rejection. But this time, she didn't stop until one day she got a call. A cleaning job in Dubai. It wasn't glamorous. It wasn't her dream, but it was a door. And she walked through it. Life there was not easy. In the heart of Dubai, where glass towers touched the sky and luxury cars whispered through golden streets, she began her day long before the city woke. Every 5 in the morning, while the city still slept under the soft desert silence, she tied her hair, put on her uniform, and stepped into buildings that cost more than anything she had ever owned in her life. Her job was simple, but exhausting. Wipe desk, mop floors, empty bins, polish glass walls so spotless that others could see their success reflected in them. But behind her quiet movements was a mind that never rested. At night, after 10 hours of work, when most people would collapse into sleep, she opened her notebook. Her small room in a shared accommodation became her classroom. Her phone became her lecturer. Her dreams became louder than her fatigue. She was studying to become a nurse. There were nights she cried quietly into her pillow. Nights when exhaustion whispered, "Give up, this is too much." But then she would remember the reason she started. A better life, a respected profession, a chance to wear that white uniform. Days turned into months, months into years, and slowly the woman who was once rejected was transforming. Until one day, she stood in a hospital, not as a cleaner, but as a nurse. In America, the same woman who was once unwanted was now saving lives. Respected, needed, valued. And somewhere far behind her were the people who once rejected her. But she no longer needed their approval because she had finally found something greater, herself.